Welcome to Casual Clix's Clix Talk, where we're still here taking a deep dive into Batman the Animated Series. Before we get started with the festivities, I just want to let you know as a viewer that this series, I don't mean it to be consecutive. What this means is that, even though right now I'm taking a look at the Batman series, it could be where maybe in an episode 2, 3 from now, I could start talking about a different topic, but I'm always going to keep going back, of course, to finish talking about Batman the Animated Series. I won't leave you all hanging. It's just that, if I decide to take a break from that, which if I do, it won't be long, a day, 2, 3, and then I'll jump right back onto this just to try to give you a variety of content out there. Because, this set was released in 2018, which is almost 3 years now, 2.5 years that it's been out. And I'm sure you've all maybe had your fill of Batman the Animated Series content or playtime with those clicks as, the time has passed. For today, however, we are moving on to number 004, Poison Ivy, Pamela Isley, the 40-point common from the set. Even though I know there are a lot of resources that you could use to look at her dial, find her power set and all that, I'm going to do this really quick. So if you want to pause. Sadly, Poison Ivy is not as good as the Joker, I'm still kind of going into this set kind of blind. I did recently just get, just a couple weeks ago maybe, I just got my Batman the Animated Series case, which if you've been following me on Twitter, you'd see the lucky case that I got and some of the pretty cool pulls that I was able to luckily get on that case. And even though I've already opened the case, gone through some of the characters, I still haven't really delved into the set like I'm doing right now, which is usually what I do after I buy a set. I start looking into it. But, I figured let's try this as an exercise because this is an older set already. Moving on to Poison Ivy, I'm so glad that Poison Ivy was the next character because previous episode we took a look at the Joker, 30 points to 40 points. I'm going to bring up their dials so that way you can compare and see that I was not kidding when I was saying that the Joker is definitely worth his 30 points. Unfortunately, he outclasses Poison Ivy in almost every way. And poor Poison Ivy is not immune, even though she is protected poison, she's not immune to the rules changes that WizKids has in store for us. A couple of things, for example, she has improved movement. Ignores hindering terrain, which, as I'm hoping that at least, that after the Wonder Woman set releases, every character will no longer be hindered on movement for hindering terrain. So that kind of, if you're going to pay 40 points for her because she has improved movement, hindering terrain, it kind of devalues the character a little bit. And that's not the only thing. She also has starting Perplex, which, as we all know, unfortunately, will also receive slight nerf, in that it will no longer be able to perplex damage. And, it was hard enough to justify paying 40 points for Poison Ivy here. And then considering the rules changes, if you've been keeping up with the strategy videos that I've been doing, the Clix Tactics strategy videos that I've been doing, Poison Ivy, unfortunately, is one of those characters that is getting affected negatively because of the upcoming rules changes that WizKids is implementing. And it's kind of a shame, really, because she was already barely playable as it was. Just upon first glance, 40 points for a character that doesn't really bring that much to the table outside of her Perplex, of course, starting Perplex with Stealth. But, with a 3 range, 1 target incapacitates, that's not really going to do much. If you've been keeping up with my Clix Tactics videos, giving you strategy tips and advice, you'll see that a lot of the characters that I've been talking about recently, I'm trying to find positives in them with the rules changes that are coming up, because whether you like it or not, they're going to take into effect, right? And majority of people that play will play by the rules. And this character, unfortunately, will never make, at least won't make this cut of the, showing up on the videos where, hey, this character improved thanks to the rules changes that WizKids implemented. That is not going to be the case with poor Pamela Isley here. As you know, as I mentioned, really the only thing she's got going for her, well, I mean, okay, perplex is still not that bad. Not, you can still perplex attack defense, which is great. But at 1 damage, 3 range, 1 target incapacitate does not justify this point cost. There are definitely better options out there, which is unfortunate. And so let's look at her significant appearance. So what I'll do then is I'll talk about her significant appearance, which is the episode titled Pretty Poison. If you haven't had a chance to see that episode, it is her origin, pretty much, where she tries to poison Harvey Dent because him and Batman open up a penitentiary. It was Bruce Wayne, not Batman. And unfortunately they had to remove a lot of the flowers or roses that she was trying to save there. A typical Batman Poison Ivy story. One thing I wish they would have done with her dial, and this is I think my personal take on it, is that in the episode she does pretend, of course, to be a regular person going out with Harvey Dent, and eventually, of course, Batman uncovers that she's the one who poisoned Harvey Dent throughout the episode. And so I wish they would have given her some shape change. Instead of super senses, the super senses, I don't think really makes sense on her. She's not enhanced in any sort of way that I know of. Maybe she's enhanced, of course, being immune to poison. And that's why she has that protected poison trait, which is, I guess, another benefit from her. But I mean, really, does anyone need protection from poison? And so, just looking at it from a design point of view, let's look at her dial. So from a design point of view, I would have preferred, I think, if she's having that terrible range, stealth, incapacitate, combat reflexes, is maybe have the shape change up front. I know how valuable perplex is top dial, but her having the perplex up front would have, I think, streamlined her role into being a total harassment figure, where you use her to tie other characters up because she's got poison, combat reflexes, stealth, and shape change would have gone a long way. I get that you can still use perplex on her defense, but I mean, there's better uses for perplex than to try to bring up a 40-point tie-up piece. I think shape change would have been the better go there. But again, that's just my personal opinion. From looking at her from a design point of view, it would have made more sense. Also, with her appearance, like I mentioned, a Pretty Poison episode where she was pretending to be a normal woman. So that's about it. Unfortunately, there's not really much else to say for Poison Ivy here. And I want to keep this in spirit with the whole idea behind the Clix talk thing that I want to do to, of course, bring more content to you all. This is also something to think about, because if you start comparing Poison Ivy to the previous episode star, which was the Joker at 30 points, who's 10 points less, is a lot more lethal, can attack competently, has a great support power that hasn't been nerfed yet. I don't know if that's something that you've ever considered when you're looking into what characters should I put in my teams. Point value is something that's very important in a character. So much so that if you've seen the more recent top 10 series that I released and some of the figure rating episodes that I did, point cost efficiency is one of the categories that I use in my ranking system, because points efficiency is very important in this game. If I was building a 300 point team, Joker would be the easy grab comparing these two. She's 10 points more and she is not worth the extra 10 points that the Joker here has to offer. Poison Ivy, I know this was your episode, but I'm sorry. You're just not that good. Your opinion may be different. Maybe you've had some success with her, and I definitely love to hear about that if you have different thoughts on this particular character. So please feel free to share that in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you don't miss the next episode of Casual Clix Talk. As always, thank you so much for watching.